Hey guys, how's it going? The time has come to pick up my VW truck that has been hiding in there for a year. It's the Lars Anderson Auto Museum. Time for a new display. Time for me to get my toy back. I'm not gonna fire it up or anything. I think we're just gonna go put it on the trailer and we'll bring it back to the shop and give her a once through, because I did not do that when I brought it here. So I want to do fuel lines and stuff before I try burning down a museum, so to speak. So go get her on the truck and bring her home. She's looking good. I think the registration expired.
It's fine.
Keys are in it. Give you a little span of where she was parked. They're getting ready to flip over and do another exhibition. You can see a lot of the stuff's already been removed. A lot of the small stuff of these vehicles have been gone. This thing's cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta help me, man. I need that kind of therapy. Never a bad day.
Is there anything on the wheels or anything besides that one?
Nothing.
Don't go in that hole. Ah.
Yeah. You
There
go
we
to
go.
hole?
Nope. Not yet.
Does it want to?
Yeah, we get it. Good right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Frank, you have all the other side. Make sure
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna cream that.
You got
I don't do that guy.
30 inches.
I love these things.
I got a set of them too. They're awesome.
I mean, I've done things by myself that, you know,
You want to sneak past me? You win. Worst case, you can get the back end over with that too.
true, yeah. Let's go back to the wood, just a little bit, push
And
it
try to
back.
get it.
And yeah, it'll give us more room to, I can't believe how light this is. Yeah, we're good. Let's see how much that can help us a lot. Why don't you hop in? You all right?
Yeah.
Got it? You're golden on this side. You okay on that side?
I think we should probably just take the dollies, maybe, and kick the aspens, just straighten it out. And... Awesome.
So, are we veering? I think we're veering.
Yeah, I got the steering to
I can't believe how nimble this thing is. Not to mention Brian.
Good thing I latched that gate. Just hop inside. There you go.
Do that, yeah. Hop inside, Brian.
Okay. Let's go.
You go for first drive. Yep.
Watch that mirror, cuz. See the mirror?
Yeah.
You got 3 inches on this side.
That's about what I got on this side.
It's like giving birth.
Yep, it is.
Freedom.
Oh, it's light as a feather.
I think Krusty left a little bit of DNA behind though. I'll have to change the oil, I just gotta add to it. I think it changed itself on the floor. Well, it's glad to see it back home, but it's gonna need some love. It really kind of needed to be serviced when they dropped it off, and I'm sure another year didn't help it any. I haven't tried turning the key or doing anything. So let's go see what we get. Unfortunately, it was in a climate controlled. You got power and batteries and somewhat decent. I thought it was gonna be stone dead. All right, I'm gonna go push her up on there. We're gonna go through it, make sure that she even has oil in it because it left a big puddle where she was parked. So let's, without further ado, start doing some wrenching. What, do you think I was going to push it? Let's go see if we got anything left of fluid. It's actually to the full mark, but there was a lake of oil underneath it. Hopefully it was oil. Not gas. Let's go quickly put the lift off the rest of the oil, take a peek underneath and see what's leaking where. Let's go on to see what we got. It definitely looks like it's leaking from a little bit of everywhere. These are push rod tubes, and they are replacements that you put in later. They always have a tendency to leak. You actually see it dripping physically from that one. At some point you take the motor apart and you take the cylinder heads off, you can replace those two with something a little bit better. This was a motor that came out of, the nuts backed off of that one back there. That came out of a Beetle that was sitting, and this had a 36 horse in, which would have been a factory engine, or correct for the year. But they're very underpowered, so this is just a 1600 dual port that you find like in like a 71, 72 Beetle, something like that. Looks like the trans is all wet too. Yeah, if you own a Volkswagen, you don't expect them to stay dry. But a little bit of everywhere. I'm going to say possibly the valve cover gaskets on that side too. But it looks like just all the push rod tubes are leaking, and then it looks like the strainer's very wet too. It has an aftermarket strainer on there too. It has an oil filter, like cartridge kind of thing in there. The rest of it looks pretty good. This thing, for those who don't know, this thing was rescued from a junkyard in Vermont, and it was trashed. There was no floors. These are all new floors, and then the upper level is all new too, the decking. And then I tried to save the outer skin best as possible. When I got it, it was all covered up with red oxide primer, and you really couldn't see the writing. You knew there was some kind of writing underneath it, but you couldn't read it. And I used Goof Off and Scotch-Brite. Looks like the axle seals are leaking too, dripping down. That's gear oil. That's not yeah. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. There's your major leak. There's peeing all over the tire. Yeah, that side too. It may dry up when it runs a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, definitely check the fluid at trans though. Anyway, I was telling the story about the writing. You couldn't see any of the writing that was on it. None of that showed up. It was all covered up with red oxide primer. You can still see the red oxide like that right there. So the whole thing was covered up, so I used Goof Off and Scotch-Brite, and that's what was underneath it. And that's what I was working on. I do a door, do a gate, see what it said. And a little bit of labor of love. Who knew it would have ended up in a museum? The only thing that was attached was the driver's door. Everything else was rotted off completely. All right, let's get, try to adjust the valves while it's cold. And we need to get into there. So I'm gonna lower down a little bit, and I don't know if I'll pop the tires off or not for viewing pleasure. You have to adjust the valves. You gotta have it on the compression stroke, top dead center on the compression stroke. And I use, just looking at the rotor and the plug wire. So this is #1 plug wire. On a VW, it's either here or here. And what you do is take the face of the rotor and have it face that direction. So I'm just gonna throw a wrench on it and we'll crank her over. There you go. We're all set to go do that one. So we're gonna do #1 cylinder. We'll come back. We're just gonna rotate it each time. 25% to the next one and go all the way around, adjust each valve. This isn't a normal setup. These are ratio rockers, and they are give you a little bit more performance, a little bit more lift on the valve. So both of those are tight. You want them kind of between 4 and 6 thou. This is a 5 thou feeler gauge. I think Volkswagen had it where it was 4, but people weren't adjusting them, so they bumped it up to 6. Made them a little bit more noisy. I gotta get us all in there. Hold on. Yeah, I think with these are not metric. It's an aftermarket stuff, but normally you would have metric stuff on a V-dub. On this one, yeah, where are we? So I'm just gonna go dial them in so I get a little bit of drag on them. Lock the jam nut. And the biggest problem is with them that does the damage is they get tight over time. And when that happens, you're using the wrong wrench. When that happens, it'll burn a valve. Like it's hot, the gas kind of slipping by, and it'll burn the exhaust valve. Or just start running like crap. You'll start losing compression on it too, but what happens is the damage will get done from the gas just escaping around it. So I'm going to run around. There's not enough room for all of us up in here. You get the idea. It's making me look clumsy. I'll bring you back when they're done. That's a little overdue. What's the saying? Release the shmoo. Yeah, definitely was time. Have that done. Normally in the middle there's just a screen you would clean out. This one has kind of a filter that is reusable. It's a probably stainless, I'm not sure. Very fine web in between. Let's go see what we got for any sparklies in there. And then it's got the oil filter too, so it's actually got, you know, a fairly good filtration system compared to what Volkswagen would use. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go rinse all that stuff out, put new gaskets on it, and we'll pop that back in there. So it's got what's called a oil bath air cleaner. It doesn't have a paper filament. What it uses is oil and like a screen. So regular Volkswagen takes 2.7 quarts of oil, and the last 0.3 goes in the air cleaner. You essentially fill it up to that red line. So it would be 3 quarts that a bug uses, but not all of it's inside the engine. There it goes, something like that. And then there's a center post that's hanging inside the bus that this hangs off of, and these 4 clips go and grab that. That hum you hear is the battery charger. So VW's biggest issue is they catch fire. The fuel line, which is this piece right here, and from the factory, the fuel line is kind of like Chinese fingers. It doesn't use hose clamps. It actually pulls tighter as it comes apart. So, see what just happened right there? The barb fell out. Generally, that is the cause of a lot of the fires. Most people say it's the fuel filter ruptures and all that. What I found is that when the fuel line does not have fuel in it, so if a vehicle sits for a while and there's no fuel in it, these lines rot internally from the new fuel, the ethanol that is in the fuel, and then they'll just still leak right through the pores of the side of it. That, and the other thing that happens is the plugs come out of, generally it's not the fuel pump, it'll be this one in the back of the carburetor right here that does it. So you definitely want to make sure that they are in there good, and like you can see, that's an issue right there. The other one that's coming to it, this is a piece of marine fuel line. I'm gonna leave this one alone. Right now it seems okay. The next time I would pull the motor or do a clutch or something and I need to remove this, I will change it. It's a little on the stiff side, but it's not gonna leak. The marine stuff is pretty good. You use it for here too, but that's how it works. And as far as like if you wanna use regular fuel line that doesn't have the, I don't know if you can see it, the barbs that are on the outside of it, it's like a cloth that's woven around it. The problem with hose clamps, you see, why don't you throw hose clamps on it? Especially on like the fuel filters, if you look at the plastic, it's on a taper like that. So if you put a clamp on it, it tries to actually kind of squeeze the end of it right off. I don't know if that shows up for you or not. There's no real pressure there, like 2 psi, if that. There's not, again, not much to go deal with. I'm gonna go replace all that. I'm gonna go take this. I'm going to sand this surface and scuff it up and tap it in. I'm probably gonna throw some Loctite on there too, and make sure that doesn't happen, because that's where the issue is. Again, usually it's the top one that pops out and it pisses fuel all over the top of the hot engine and on top of your distributor. Some people take the fuel filter and they'll relocate it to a different area. I have never really had an issue. Really, I've never seen a fuel filter rupture. People are gonna argue it, but anyway, that's my opinion. It seems like my guess is when the air is able to get to it, but if it has fuel in it, it usually stays pretty good. That's why this fuel line doesn't crap out in the one underneath. I mean, they all eventually crap out, but this is the one that'll get you like essentially every year. You kind of want to change it if it sits for 5 or 6 months, because the top of the carburetor is open. So what happens is the fuel evaporates out of the carburetor, and then the float drops, and then it allows the fuel to disappear that's inside here. But there's you know, there's still fumes and remnants, and then that's what kind of deteriorates the line. That's where we're going with it. I haven't checked the points. If it doesn't run, then we'll do something about it. I know, it looks funny, doesn't it? Having that right there. Tuck that in a little bit more. We're a tad long. Alright, battery charge has been on, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. It's that humming that you're hearing. How about we back you up and we'll see if the thing fires off. It'll take a little bit for this stuff to fill up with fuel. I don't know if you get your eyes on it, you should be able to see the fuel start getting into the bowl. And then you'll, about 30 seconds after that, it should go. Here we go. Anything yet? I have no idea how much gas is in this. Oh yeah, it's full. Should go in a second, if it's got spark. Confident, Martin. Get no leaks. You got to shut it off in a minute to check the oil level. Sounds good. Burping out a little bit of air. It's like the base of either the fuel pump or the distributor leaks a little bit of oil too. A lot of times the oil pressure switch goes and they'll piss like crazy. That sounds good. Like a kitten. Tell me, huh? I wonder if we are out of gas. Maybe that's be why it's bubbling. Because I know I didn't put it. I put it away with not much fuel in it. That may be exactly the case. I think I have to put some fuel in it. They didn't want it stored there with a lot in it. Well, back then you didn't have a gas gauge. So I made a gas gauge. And pretty much just a dipstick. We run that to right there. And that should tell us what we got. We got a 1/2 inch in the bottom of the tank. And the probe kind of sticks up a little bit. So that's it. It's just out of gas. See if she'll stay running this time. Could take another couple seconds for it to fill up. We're gonna pop the air cleaner back, put it in its place, and throw some air in the tires, make sure that they're all decent. So we let her back on the ground. We go for a putt. That's why I didn't want to start it up in the museum. We have a fuel leak. You look at that's the accelerator pump in the back, if you watch that. You actually see it leaking gas right out of the center where that post is. You get you a better light. That looks like the whole thing's actually loose too. Let's go shut that down. Let's see if it'll do it with it. Let's see if it'll do it with it not running. Yeah. Not supposed to be doing that. So when I was hitting the gas, I could hear it. It wasn't running right. It would fall on its face and go, and that's the accelerator pump. It's supposed to squirt a little bit of fuel in it real quick to help accelerate and get out of the hole there and get rid of that flat spot. We're gonna go pop that away. I don't know if the screws are just loose on it or if it's warped or the gasket's blown out of it. I'm not sure. So we're gonna take it apart anyway. Let's just go see if it's loose or if it's just egged out. No, they're tight. That one was. Yeah. Sometimes what happens is the casing of it too warps. Common, you know, it's a 50-year-old piece of aluminum, magnesium, aluminum. Not sure on this, but over time, the only points that touch are where the screws are, and it gets like an arc in between. So you got to kind of take them and flatten them out on a like a stone or something. Flatten it so that they touch all over again. I have a feeling this one's got a hole right in it though, because it was pushing. There's not supposed to be gas on the other side of that diaphragm. It's only supposed to be on one side, the side that's towards the carburetor. So there's the diaphragm, and it's not supposed to shoot fuel out of that side. Yeah, it's pretty brittle. There's a hole, I think, right. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. It's like a crack and a hole in it. Yeah. It's a good thing I stock parts. Let's go get a kit. And somewhere in this stash is a carb kit. Carb kits. Oh, there we are. That'll do. Gotta get that piece to lay flat, so a stone, a little bit of oil, and it should show like wear marks after I go and scuff it. You'll see that it kind of just will touch on the corners. See how it's just shiny on the corners? So I'm going to work that till I get a shiny line going all the way across. Then I'll know that I have a flat surface again. Normally you can rotate it, but the linkages get me. Shouldn't take much. Almost there. A little right there and a little right there still needs to be done. You see the difference between, here's the one that we took out. Here's the one that's going in. They may have changed the material finally. I know the problem is that they're sensitive to fuel. See how that one just kind of like pops in its location. This seems to be a different material, so maybe finally they got caught up and started making something that holds up to ethanol, because this is the #1 death of VWs as far as having a big flat spot when they're driving. You go to get on the gas and this falls on its face unless you work the pedal real slow, but if you try flooring it, it just goes boah. That's that. Gets no squirt, a little extra squirt when you're stepping on it, hence the name accelerator pump. I'm gonna put that back together. We'll throw it back on the car. In case you're curious, you can see that it's shiny all the way around. Figure while we had it out, we might as well pop the top off, and if there's any dirt, it'd be a good time to rinse it out. If it's really terrible, we'll go through it, but I don't think it is. Let's just see what we got. Yeah, it's pretty clean. I'm just gonna go rinse that real quick. I see a little bit of crap, not much. Wherever that is right there. And just a little bit of junk. We'll show the accelerator pump working. Let's go dump a little bit of fuel in there. Just got to get, there's a set of check balls on the side. You get the fuel higher than that. And we're going to go hit the gas a little bit. It's got to take probably a second to prime. There it goes. And you'll look right there. You'll see it. You little piss stains. Working fine. Sometimes you won't get any right from the, like, you'll get a flat spot right there, but this one seems pretty good. Sometimes you get a flat spot, you can adjust the linkage for it to come in a little bit earlier. Everything seems like it's good. And I do not see any leaking around there. Like you're milking a cow. Alright, now I'll put it back together and put it on the car. How about now? Eyeball it one more time.
You hear it now in the throttle response. It's immediate. Pull that a win.
Alright, it's about a week or so later, and we are going to go on a little bit of a road trip. So this will be a cold start. So now probably about 10 days. Gotta fix that light. Doesn't want to go. And we're off. Chokes along. It's 39 degrees. That'll warm up. Who's that handsome crew? Look at all these folks. in. Generally, we take over a hill on the left over here. The regular park is straight ahead, but we take over this little area. Yeah, third gear's a little too slow.
Because it breaks down.
You don't see many of them.
Between Pete's and my basement, I'm like, I think he could have a third VW.
Right.
How you doing?
Hi.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's pretty tight in here. We came in, we were just like, which way? They went that way, so we went that way.
Shame to say hello.
Camera? No camera.
Dad. Dad, why is
Take a look.
I talked about therapy after like 3 days.
Like in high school, he worked on the whole plane, right? And 20 miles on a big people or any of them. We went from a motorbike to Volkswagen.
Your flight is not hot rod. Oh yeah.
People are surprised. That's how to do it. Oh, you found my crew. That's my posse.
Where's your sled?
Yeah, I know, right? They would love that, actually. They love this stuff. That's something else. How is this? Carrying an empty plate? Oh, you got 50. Oh. I'm running.
How you doing? You remember this one, don't you? You worked on it. Oh, you were?
That's tough too. Your height, thinking like maybe it's the down to
You come home with me? Is that what you doing?
You might.
Smells the food, I think.
Yeah. Did you catch one? Get it.
Hi, guys.
Nice, man.
Take it easy, Musty. Where you going?
I'm gonna take the ocean, I think.
Yeah, us too. If anything happens, give me a ring.
All right. See ya. And on the side of the road is a lawnmower that says free won't start. What do you say we throw that in the truck and bring it back to the operating table, see what it needs. It's got a pretty nice machine. About 10 years old maybe. Overhead valve. Put it in there. The only thing that sucks, I don't have any tie-down straps in the truck. It's all cleaned out. Let's try to wedge it in there best as possible. How about we jam a stick under it? Something that's a little flatter. Perfect. Keep her under 100. Well guys, I made the trip no problem. I didn't have any issues with it. I don't think it's dripping any fluid underneath. It looks fairly dry. That's a good sign. And I'm glad to have it back. I didn't want to talk too much during the cruising part of the video because I just wanted to try to put forth the feeling of what it's like to drive a 63-year-old vehicle with no radio, just going punting around. So that's what I did. Got a little extra in the back on the way home, so that's a good plus to finish off for the day. And speaking of finishing off, I think we're good on this one, guys. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me, having a little bit of fun, bringing Krusty back from the museum, and then kind of going through her and taking her for a ride first time in about, I don't know, 13 months, 14 months. So with that, I'm going to see you all soon. Probably screwing with that thing. All right, guys, later.